Guys, this is Jess with Solbee Home. This is an outdated Lane Hope chest that was my mom's, and she wanted a makeover for it. My parents live at the beach, so it was time for this beauty to get a coastal makeover. So she wanted a mermaid. We went on Zazzle and found this beautiful picture. We did have to pick a mermaid that would fit into this smaller space that the chest had. I would have probably framed out the bottom, but I decided to wrap the tail around the bottom also. That way you could see the full mermaid and still have some of the sunset. With a Zazzle paper, I like to give it a little spray down with Rust-Oleum sealer first. I did the front and back, and then I just used some Bondo to fill in the hardware holes. After that, a scuff sanding and sanding down where I did that hole repair. I only filled the holes in where the paper was going. I still left a hardware hole on these faux doors. I don't have a fancy sander, so I went ahead and wiped the entire piece down with liquid sandpaper also. This piece will be heavily covered up, so I did a very quick, just sloppy coat of primer. After that was fully dried, I wanted to do some stenciling with some raised details, and I decided to use a mint-colored chalk paste for this. This is a very thick product, and I'll be able to use this color as a part of the finish later. This little border stencil is one of the most used stencils I have ever had. It comes in a multi-pack, and it is great for adding little bohemian style details to furniture. I also decided while I had this out to just add a little bit of texture and use this almost as my Bondo to fill in nicks or holes, things like that. I also ended up grabbing this little floral kind of corner detailed stencil that I have and wanted to add those to the faux doors on the front. And as I said earlier, this stuff is really thick. It's easier to clean your stencil off with a baby wipe before you try to go clean it and rinse it the rest of the way. Typically with a paste or anything like that, I'm going to be using the hose outside because I don't want to add to clogging my paint sink quicker than it's going to be clogged one day. And then I'm just repeating this border stencil on the other side. And after that, I'll just be adding the same kind of texture that I did on the rest of the piece. Now I want to go ahead and add my mermaid. So I'm going to be decoupaging the tissue paper on, and this is kind of a tricky surface. I'm trying to just do the top portion. I do typically use the iron-on method when I'm decoupaging Zazzle papers, but that's not going to work for this piece. So we're going to have a few wrinkles, but I'll fix them later with an iron, and some of them are not going to make or break this design. I do typically tear my paper at least somewhere when I don't do the iron-on method, and that does happen with this piece, but it's able to easily be blended back in. And that's typically going to happen if you overwork a certain spot or it's too wet. But I have a balled up piece of saran wrap that I'm using to smooth this surface out. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom portion of my paper. You're not usually going to see a lot of decoupaging onto furniture from me, and that's simply because it's a very customized buyer. I don't actually do commission work because it's just not fun for me. And if I were to just decoupage all of my furniture that's in my booth, it would take longer to probably sell because I would need that many specific buyers to show up. However, it is fun to do and a very cool look. It's just, like I said, very specific to whoever is going to own it. So this was really fun to be able to do because I already knew what room it was going in and how to make it blend with the other furniture. And I had creative freedom with this. Basically, we just picked the mermaid out, and then she said she wanted it to be mostly blue. So I was able to work with that and come up with this creation. That being said, every once in a while, I do throw in a decoupaged piece of furniture into my booth just because it's fun to do. And this is just Mod Podge that I've been putting over the top. After it's fully dried, I want to go back with a little razor blade and clean up those edges and also go ahead and sand that top edge off that was overlapping and the bottom. So now I'll have a nice clean edge moving forward, and on the sides I'll be able to use paint to blend that in, which I have to do anyways to blend this paper. And I'm not going to be able to get it perfect, but I'm still going to take some parchment paper and an iron and try to smooth out some of these wrinkles. Remember, the top layer of Mod Podge has already dried, but this does kind of reactivate some of that and help smooth those wrinkles out. And now I'm just going to go back over the entire paper with Mod Podge again, especially all those areas that I cut and sanded back. And if you do order from Zazzle, make sure you're getting the heaviest weighted paper that you can. That helps a lot. So after this fully dried, I should have moved right on to the next step, but the humidity was too high in the garage. So it sat for just a little while, even though this was supposed to be a Mother's Day gift. And Mother's Day had passed already. But luckily, my mom is understanding, especially since we don't live close to each other. So I finally decided to move it into the house to finish it, which I don't love to paint in the house with a bigger piece because I'm a messy painter sometimes. But that's the only way this piece was going to get done because it's very, very hot and humid here. I've just picked some coordinating colors with my paper, and remember my mom wanted mostly blue, so we're starting with a heavy base of blue, and then I'm just doing a very rough blend. And that's just blending the colors. I kind of wanted the lightest in the middle, and I'm using my spray bottle and a extra brush to just kind of blend them in a little bit. The first layer always looks horrible. But these are water-based chalk style paints, and so they reactivate when you get them wet with water. The worst part about painting inside for me is that my cat likes to rub up against what I'm doing. So I was trying to keep an eye out for him while I was doing this project. And while I had my paint out, I went ahead and tried to blend these edges in of the paper and start something at the top to kind of match that sunset. The idea of maybe blending the entire front with the paper would have been fine, but that would have been a lot of orange, and we weren't going for that. So I decided to continue to keep that orange and sky tone in the middle only. I'm always going to bring the colors I'm using into my paper. That gives it more of a seamless look. So for my second coat, I'm going to omit the teal colors, just a little too teal for the look that we are going for with this. And I'm just going to be using my lighter blue and my darker blue. I'm going to spend a little more time blending these two colors together than I did on the first coat. So this just requires a little bit of patience and that fine mist spray bottle full of water. So now I've painted the entire piece and it's dried for maybe about 12 hours, and I'm going to go in with some wet distressing. And I'm using a microfiber cloth. That way we can see that raised stencil that I did, and I want to see some white primer here and some of the wood shine through. So I'm kind of going in with a heavy hand. And I'm sorry about the lighting here, and it was a little difficult to see.
Music carries, no worries here, right here. Laughs are shining, everyone. We're alive on the island in the sun. Dance, dance under the sky. Feel the heat, just you and I. This is our perfect getaway fun. Forever on this island in the sun. Ooh, the stars come out, sparkling bliss. A night like this, nothing will miss.
So I wanted to add something a little special inside. I've had this transfer for a while. I just haven't had the perfect piece for it. So I'm using this one half of the transfer for the inside of the chest. And it is the perfect fit and just gives it a little cool detail inside. So I'm going to seal the entire exterior with clear wax by Jolie. Oh, there's Raja. He's a bad little dude, but we love him. But this step I don't typically do until my paint's dried for at least 24 hours. And I am just applying my wax and then buffing off the excess with a cloth.
Hearts are glowing, oh, we've won. Lost in love on the island in the sun. Dance, dance under the sky. Ooh, yeah. Feel the heat, just you and I. This is our perfect getaway fun. Forever on this island in the sun.
For sealing the inside transfer, I wanted to do the clear wax but add a little bit of orange scent to it. So I took an essential oil and mixed that up and then sealed the entire inside, not just the transfer, just to give it a little extra orange smell in there. Sometimes these older pieces can get a little musty, even though cedar is technically supposed to prevent that. So I found some coordinating hardware from Hobby Lobby, and then the last step was to basically reupholster this top pad, which fabric is not my forte at all. So I did the best I could with this, and it ended up turning out better than I thought. This fabric matched my mom's room really well. We picked that out down at the beach. And I just used my little stapler and did a fold over method that required no sewing or anything. I did it right over the existing fabric. And here she is. She's completed and made her way down to the beach. My mom loved it, especially the little surprise detail inside. And this piece has a completely drastic makeover compared to what it looked like before, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. So I hope you enjoyed watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and thanks for your time. Have a good week.